Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Nur Sam Nizam and I will present introduction. Pharmaceuticals have a chemical basis and are intended to actively engage the body's immunological or metabolic system. The majority of devices are mechanical in nature and have no impact on the human body. Because of this, the risks to the body from medications and medical devices are of a distinct kind and scale. One common fallacy involves the distinction between the availability of clinical evidence for drugs and medical devices, including the untrue assertion that there is no clinical data for medical device. In particular, unless it is permissible to rely on pre-existing clinical data, the clinical evaluation for both implant devices and high-risk devices must be based on evidence from clinical investigation. It is important to note that, unlike pharmaceuticals, randomized clinical trials are not the gold standard for evaluating the efficacy and safety of medical device. This is relevant when discussing the requirement for the same type of clinical evidence for devices as for drugs. In order to treat a patient's condition or help and cure an illness, modern medicine uses medications and operation.
Hi, my name is Nur and my metric number is 28493. I will explain about the roles. There are two main roles of contemporary focus in Islam, which is seeking a cure and to emphasize human life. First, it's about hifz al-din, which means preservation of religion or belief. Medical treatment contributes to the care of worship through the care of perfect physical and mental health. With a healthy body, a person is able to perform worship perfectly, such as the ability to pray, perform Hajj in Mecca, and other acts of worship. Similarly, mental health is very important to ensure that a person is able to think sanely to accept the true belief. Secondly, it's about hifz al-din, which means preservation of life. Medical science aims to provide solutions to human health issues. Medical science is not to delay or prevent it because it is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Medical science is to fulfill the command of Allah and Prophet Muhammad that if a person is sick, then he must try to find treatment and medicines. Third, the next role is hifz al-aqli, which means care of mind. Medical science plays a big role in preserving human reason. Contemporary medical and pharmaceutical provides solutions to physical ailments with which it can maintain the health of the human mind. Last but not least, the other role is hifz al-mal, which means property care. Medical science also makes a great contribution to the objective of Sharia to preserve human property. A healthy society is able to run the affair of life well and the economy becomes stable. Taking care of the health of the young generation from infectious disease, for example, can take care of health from things to treat. A healthy society is more productive than an unhealthy society.
Next, we move to the next part, which is the application. We use two methods, which are al-mashaqqah tajlib at-taysir and dara yuzan. In first method, al-mashaqqah tajlib at-taysir, we want to discuss three things. First, about rusah in medical. Second, issue of maintaining purity and cleanliness, which is tahara. And the last one is the issue of treating patients of different gender. First, rusah in medical. Seven reasons why rusah is permitted and one of them is illness. This is due to the fact that when someone sick, it is given 25 in doing Islamic Sharia so that they do not feel burdened to do it. For example, they are allowed to pray sitting, lying and so on if they cannot pray as usual. They also can use tayammum to replace water when taking ablution for prayer if they get advice from doctor not to touch water. Next, for the first issue, a sick person not exempt from cleaning his body and clothes and performing hygiene practice as mentioned in hadith. A person who have serious ill or disabled should make every effort to remove all impurities from his body and clothes to maintain his purity at all times. There are many examples given about patients' condition where it is difficult for them to clean themselves, but there are many ways that they can use to maintain the purity. According to the study, patients tend to refrain from carrying out religious obligations due to an inability to obtain sufficient information, including the religious view known as rusah, which exempts them from doing certain obligatory due to unavailable obstacles such as opinions that allow them to ignore the area and use tayammum to keep from washing their bodies with water. Next, the last issue, which is treating patients of different gender. Some scholars are opposed to patients being examined by people of opposite sex. The majority believe it is permissible in situations where no one of the same is prepared to provide some level of care in terms of expertise and energy. Depending on the severity of the patient illness, the permission to treat someone of the different gender can be classified as rukhsah. Individuals that treat women must follow a priority list in Islamic fiqh, with the first doctor being a Muslim woman, followed by non-Muslim woman, then a rebel Muslim male doctor, and finally a non-Muslim doctor depending on availability. In addition, a mahram or dependable woman must be present to prevent hulwah. If a female or male patient requests to be examined by a doctor of same gender, we should try to accommodate their request in order to respect their personal preference and psychological comfort. Finally, the higher value of rukhsah in medical practice is preserving people's physical and spiritual health by avoiding conflict between Sharia compliance and treatment plans.
For the second application is about the ad-darar yuzal. For this application, I will tell three parts. The first one is about the concept of ad-darar yuzal, and number two is proposition of ad-darar yuzal, and the last one, or the number three, is case situation related to ad-darar yuzal. The first part of this application is concept of darar yuzal. When something cause harm, it must be avoided or eliminated in that situation, whether the harm belongs to a general rights or is related to the specific rights, such as when someone damage other pupils' property. Raising awareness of the damage incidents is necessary for its removal. Getting rid of potentially unsafe and harmful materials is also part of the operation. Everything can be detrimental to the Muslim community should be avoided. According to the great majority of specialists, undoubtedly the Sharia was intended to help the mankind, said Imam Ash-Shatibi. In conclusion, one should never opt to purposefully hurt their sibling. The basic method is one of the explanation and function of the method related to harm, which was originally divided into three. The first one is to prevent the beginning of an injury as well as its initiation. La darar wa la dirar. There is no harm and no harm. The second one is it is necessary to eliminate harm as it appears. Ad-darar yuzal. Harm or danger must be eliminated. The third one, or the last one, is try to stay as injury-free as you can. Ad-darar yarfa'u biqadari al-imkan. The harm is contained or rejected as far as possible. The number two is about the proposition of ad-darar yuzal. Surah Al-A'raf verse 56 says, A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim, wa la tufsidu fil ardi ba'da islahiha. And do not do mischief on the earth after God has prepared everything that bring good to it. The second surah is Surah Al-Ma'idah verse 64. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonir rajim, wallahu la yuhibbul mufsidin. Allah does not like those who do mischief. And narrated by Abd Umar, the messenger of God sallallahu alaihi wasallam forbid buying and selling based on deception. The part 3 is about the case situation related to ad-darar yuzal. The first is there is no harm and no harm. At this stage, this illness cannot do harm to either the patient or others. For instead, the government implemented the Movement Control Order or MCO to prevent the COVID-19 pandemic from spreading across the country. By doing this, the virus is prevented from moving from an infected individual to a healthy one and affecting both that person and the general populace. As a result, there are limitations on how many worship practice may be used. During the month of Ramadan, Muslims are forbidden from holding any religious activities that draw a substantial crowd. This includes breaking the fast, performing the Tarawih prayers, worshipping in a mosque at night and mass sermonizing or tazkirah throughout the MCO times. Anyone who disobeys the control order put himself and others in peril because the virus cannot be seen by human eyes. When ill, a person may possibly affect others by touching them or by dropping bodily fluids on them. By adhering to this routine, the virus and pandemic may be contained before they spread further throughout their neighborhood. Okay, for number 2 is about the harm is contained or rejected as far as possible. The government had issued directives through the MOH, including physical separation of 1 meter, the wearing of face mask, self-quarantine if there are feverish indication, and routine hand washing with a soap disinfectant. Every activity, including mosque washing ritual like prayer, must adhere to this standard operation protocol or SOP during the COVID pandemic. For instance, famous scholar Mufti discussed and accepted that SOP of physical distance during prayers. The fatwa institution in Malaysia come same conclusion, which is compatible with the maxim of avoiding the pandemic, even if the original rule asks for the makmum to become closer to one's other like that. Give the harm, the Jew should be carried out as closely as is practical in accordance with the rule enforcing social segregation.
In conclusion, taking medicine or getting hospital treatment is a permissible method in Islam to treat any disease. It is an effort for humans to cure diseases from getting worse and harming themselves either physically, mentally, spiritually, and socially. However, medicine and surgery cannot cure the disease, but with his permission, the disease can be cured. According to the Sharia, the health of body is one aspect that needs to be taken care of. Therefore, there are treatment methods such as surgery and medicines to treat disease and restore the health of the body. The content of the treatment materials used must also be pure from materials that do not contain feces except in emergency situations. However, when the state of emergency ends, the law of using illegal substances will return to the original, which is illegal. Finally, the medicines and surgeries used to help people in curing their disease are obligatory for some scholars, and others say circumcision. This explanation proves that Islam does not forbid its followers to go to the hospital for treatment, but rather encourages its followers to take care of their health and be free from the disease. That's all. Thank you.